Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans. It's Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2022. Our weekly trip with good friend and colleague, Julian Edlow from DraftKings, as reached out to him earlier this morning just to check in. As everyone knows, what the initial start of the day will be as the prayers and thoughts to Damar Hamlin, something none of us has ever witnessed live in sports, live on the NFL stage. It has kind of brought everything into perspective. So we're just going to touch upon that for a few minutes. As Julian said, we don't have a lot to talk about in the NFL, obviously, other than Damar and in sports. But we're going to give you an abbreviated show here today, and then we'll move on from there. Without further ado, let's bring him in, Julian Edlow.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Julian. How are you?
Not too bad. As you laid out at the top of the show, and as I put out on Twitter, I think it's appropriate that we start with thoughts for Damar Hamlin and wishing him the best in his recovery. And I just put out that I didn't want it to come out as insensitive if I'm going to be talking sports today, because I think that does need to be the lead topic and where everybody's thoughts should be. But for those of us that are blessed to work in sports, we try and do our job the best we can and be sensitive of the situation. So those are kind of my thoughts for this morning.
Monday night for me is bowling night, and I had just wrapped up. I shot a 722. In the second game I had the front nine. The first time I've had the front nine in a long time. Ended with a 278. But long story short is got about a 20-minute drive from Falmouth to Marston's Mills, 25 minutes. And I'm following the game on the phone, and I didn't turn it on to Sirius. And I saw this long delay, and I kept looking at the play, and it was T. Higgins. And I'm like, I bet you T got hurt. And then our star producer, Kiefer, reached out to me and goes, did you see the play? Did you see what's going on? And I'm like, no, I had no idea. And he sent me the video, and then I got home, and I'm numb and shocked. I was just like, I had that pit in my stomach. I think, Julian, it was more the reaction, like the Josh Allen and the Stephon Diggs. I mean, it was immediately, they just like, it wasn't like, when someone either got concussed or they heard the break of a bone or something and they're waving these guys on. Never seen the shock in the players' eyes like immediately like that.
Yeah, it was an unprecedented situation. And as far as we know, we haven't seen anything like it. So the players knew it was serious. The medical staff thankfully knew it was serious quickly, and were able to act and presumably help the situation a lot. But they had to do it in front of the players. So as soon as the players see, when you get a stretcher or an ambulance or whatever, there's not CPR going on, and there's not a revival going on. So they've been through a lot. And like I said to you, I think this is going to mean, just like the game wasn't able to go on last night, I presume that this is going to mean a lot in terms of how the NFL season goes on. I don't think it's going to be just a pickup on Saturday and Sunday and business as usual, which very well may be the right call given the state of the players. So we'll see what this means for NFL. But yeah, I don't think I don't think today it's appropriate to be giving out NFL bets, nor do we, given the current state of the league, know how we would do so. So I think we just kind of sit back and hope Damar Hamlin improves his condition and see what the league does from here.
And lastly, hats off to the announcers on ESPN. I thought they all handled themselves amazingly. They were just they're almost like, you wanted to say it was dead air, but it wasn't. Like they were looking at each other and not knowing what to say. And I, like I said, I sat there in my office chair at home just with a knot and a pit in my stomach. I felt like I got run over by a train. Wife's trying to talk to me and it was like this blah, 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 blah. I was just like trying to tune her out so I could focus on what was going on. But thoughts and prayers to Damar. His toy drive, which he set a goal for 2,500, is over 3 million. So it is on my timeline. If anyone watching the show has a quick second to throw a couple bucks onto his toy drive, please do. Julian, the Final Four was, they couldn't have scripted it any better. We talked on our shows about if you liked Georgia, grab the -130. Everyone was under the thought process you were going to play Michigan, so you were going to get a shorter line. TCU just, listen, Michigan shot themselves in the foot. Obviously I still think that was a touchdown, but you had 1st and goal from the quarter-inch line. You can't turn it over. The 2 pick sixes. Thoughts on the TCU Michigan game?
It probably was a touchdown, and even if it wasn't by an inch by the rules, go to the NFL rules where you need to be touched to be down. Like, I hate in college, you hit the ground and you're down. Like, it's tackle football. You got to be tackled to be down. Who knows by the rule if it was a touchdown or not. But like you said, that's not important. You got to be able to, you're Michigan. You got to be able to get up and pound it in from the 1-inch line with 4 tries, and they couldn't. I don't think, and that was in the second quarter. So I don't think that was the difference in the game. You had several chances to stop TCU from going on long touchdown drives, and you didn't. So I think the right team won. I think the better team won. And it was a wild game. I think it's a little bit of Michigan, like maybe they weren't as good as we thought they were. Overreact to the Ohio State game. But most of it was just that TCU is good. They put up 51 on Michigan, who, is known for that defense. So hats off to TCU. They played a great game. They surprised everybody, and they're in the national championship. I do have a big Georgia -125 to win it all ticket. That was sweaty. I didn't even bet the game, but I was just like, now I know TCU has won. I this ticket, this Georgia -125 ticket against TCU. I don't plan on hedging it at all with any TCU money line. I wanted 14. It's now down to 13 on DK Sportsbook. If I can get some +14, I might take maybe like a third of that bet, something like that, and put it on TCU +14, because that's a big number. They've proven to be good enough that I think they can hang around in this game. And I think we saw the Georgia defense, it can give up points. Now, Ohio State's fantastic, but they kept putting up points without Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, who's like the guy for them. So I think TCU is going to be able to score. I just don't think they're going to be able to stop Georgia at all. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm happy that we have the good number. Hopefully some listeners and followers got the good number, because that's the position you want to be in. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would bet on this game. I would probably be looking to the player props when they come out, because I'm not laying 13 with Georgia for sure. If you made me bet the spread, it's TCU. But I really only want to bet it knowing that it's going for that middle with Georgia to win the game. And the other takeaway, like, I don't know who you would put them in over, but like, you got the Sugar Bowl, you got Bryce Young going in there throwing 5 touchdowns and just smoking K-State. And it just makes you think, where would Alabama rank up with those 4 teams that we saw play on Saturday night after the Sugar Bowl? I got to think they would have smoked Michigan or TCU had they played on Saturday, but they couldn't stop a 2-point conversion at Death Valley, so they didn't get to play.
It's funny because after what transpired with, hats off to Bryce Young and Willie Anderson. Holy shit. 99.9% of the world were like, hey, listen, we're not going there. We're going to get ready for that.
I bet K-State and got like 3.5 points of closing line value because they were going to sit out until I didn't, and then got a bad number because they played it. Miscapped that one.
Where's Dave Sharapam with the cans? We need the cans here, the CLV cans. So, and a lot of Bama people were on social media saying that. And listen, I don't think any of the people in our lanes aren't saying Alabama was not one of the top 4 teams in the country. We're not saying that.
Right.
Unfortunately, due to the system, 2 losses was because you had a couple undefeated teams weren't going to get you in. And the fact is that they gave the Ohio State lean with 1 loss. And literally Ohio State was within a whisker, obviously, of beating Georgia. And that leads me into the Ohio State Georgia game. As you know, we talked about the Ohio State team total being the cash cow all year. It was 27.5, the lowest that it had been all year. We gave out the Georgia team total, which got a little sweaty there.
That's what I played. I got a 33.5 on the Georgia team total.
Yeah, and the problem with the Georgia defense is they want to play man-to-man. They want to be physical. They hadn't seen the wide receiver core that Ohio State had. They hadn't seen a Marvin Harrison Jr. And the thing is, hats off to the Ohio State offensive line. C.J. Stroud looked as smooth as a cucumber. And then second half, they're moving the pocket. I tell you what, it's going to make those NFL guys think twice. I know Bryce Young is the consensus potential first pick or first quarterback off the board. I'm telling you, CJ looked pretty damn good on in that game.
Stroud is good, and he's a top 10 pick. Bryce Young's still number 1 for me. I did bet Bryce Young at even money to go number 1. Let me see what he's at on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. But as soon as, because I thought the Texans might have a chance to beat the Jags last week because the Jags are just kind of looking forward to the Tennessee game. Didn't play out like that. So now it still can, if the Bears lose and the Texans beat a really bad Colts team, it still could be the Bears, who obviously have Fields in place. Bryce Young's minus 120 on DK Sportsbook. Stroud's plus 200. I don't understand. Some of these guys have Will Levis from Kentucky ranked as the number 1 quarterback. I don't get that. I think that's kind of overthinking it. Maybe he is one of those prospects that you don't quite see it in college, but he has the NFL game. It has to be Bryce Young for me. And if Houston gets the pick, it's 100% Bryce Young. If Chicago or somebody that doesn't need a quarterback gets it, I feel like the Bears have lost a lot of draft capital, but I feel like that's the perfect position to trade back to 4 or 5 and maybe get a Will Anderson, like you said, with 3 or 4 other picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, get a king's ransom from a team like whoever, the Titans, the Colts, name a team that needs a quarterback, who have the capital to move up and go to number 1 and get Bryce Young. But long story short, Bryce Young's got to be the guy for me.
I'm gonna going back to Georgia and TCU for a second. Here's my initial thoughts. The world is off Georgia's shoulders. I love TCU. I love Duggan. I love everything that they've done this year. It's an amazing story. Duggan isn't CJ Stroud, and their one big wide receiver isn't Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the speed.
Quentin Johnson's pretty good.
He is good.
So Marvin Harrison can't go in this draft, right?
No.
He has to play one more year. Otherwise, he would probably be the first receiver taken.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnson, though, is probably going to be the first receiver taken. He could be like he'll probably be a top 10 pick.
He's a big boy.
He's good. So
He
I
is.
don't think I'm with you, but I don't think it's Quentin Johnson's up there. Like, it's not that far of a step back in terms of the number one receiver that you got to cover.
No, but I think Georgia's defense can really focus on him. There's not 2 and 3 other wide receivers.
Right.
And the accuracy of Stroud versus Max is apples and oranges. So I just think this is going to be an early and often Georgia. I'll tell the whole world that's watching right now, go to DK Sports, go wherever your sports book is. And as soon as they put up a Georgia team total, just take the over because Georgia's going to score early and often. You don't have to sweat it. Julian, you got the minus 125. What is the actual money line on TCU?
So it has come down a little bit because initially when it opened 14, Georgia was like minus over minus 500 initially on the money line. But it has come down. Let me see. I'm trying to find let me see. Let me get the number up for the game here on DraftKings. So it's down to 13. It's minus 460 Georgia, plus 370 TCU for the game.
So obviously someone in your spot, most people will go and gravitate obviously to hoping to get the 14, hoping to get, the middle, meaning Georgia wins and they win by 13, 12, 11,
so
10.
That Georgia team total is up on DraftKings.
What do you have that at?
Guess what it's at. You can figure it out if you just do the numbers, but
12 and a half and a 62 and a half, 35, 20, 35, 20 is 55. You guys put it at around 37?
38 and a half, but you're getting
shame on you.
You're getting even money on the over.
Shame on you. I have them scoring 40 plus. Don't get me wrong. I have them. Right. I have this game right around, if you want my honest opinion, I got this game right around 41-20. Mm-hmm. That's where I got them scoring 40.
I think it could have been it wouldn't have been lower than a 37 and a half, but I think it could have maybe been a 37 and a half, but it would have been like minus 125, minus 130. So even money on over 38 and a half, I'm not against.
We give a good morning to TJ. Good morning to PB. Happy New Year to both of you. Yes, TJ. Avs score in the first 30 seconds, and then they take 2.5 periods off. Shame on them. Where do we go? Let's go. We got 6 minutes because I know you have another show. I said to everyone this would be an abbreviated show. Let's talk some Celtics here. We talked, great start, a little wake-up call out west, playing a little grab ass back and forth, slapped in the face by Denver, who I think is potentially, if you're not in on Zion, Denver might be the sneaky team. Back east, I said all along, I thought it was the Bucks that will be coming out. Brooklyn has decided to play some basketball, Julian.
12 in a row.
What is your thoughts? What's the price on DK for East and to win it all? And what is Julian, season ticket holder to the Celtics here? Are you scared of him?
Season ticket holder for the Celtics that's yet to attend the game, I will add. Welcome to life of dad of two. But
dad of two.
I'm saving up my ammo for springtime when it matters. Let me get to the futures board here for the NBA. So the Celtics are still favored to win it all at plus 360. The Nets are right behind them at plus 600. They've leapfrogged the Bucks, who are plus 650. And the Warriors are still the best in the West, according to the odds, at plus 800. Clippers right behind them, plus 850. And then is where you see that jump to some of those teams that we kind of need to see it to believe it in the West. Memphis is plus 1,200. Denver's plus 1,200. And you go from there. So it's really, they're saying the three best teams are in the East. It's the Celtics, Nets, and Bucks. The Nets are slowly turning into the team that we kind of thought that they might be the year that they lost that playoff series in 7 to the Bucks when Durant was so good. Kyrie got hurt. Harden got hurt. And they just barely couldn't get past the Bucks. That was a year that I loaded up on the Nets to win the East. And can with 100% confidence say it was injuries that cost them from doing so. They're starting to find a groove for sure. And they seem happy, and Kyrie is playing and contributing. So where they're at right now, they're appropriately priced, and they definitely have a chance. I like how I think the Nets, like if they played a 7-game series against the Bucks right now, I would take the Nets. Problem is we have to see where that is in April, May. And you just don't know with Brooklyn. So I just can't confidently invest in them from a betting standpoint when a loose screw like Kyrie Irving could come flying off at any point, and there goes your season. So I like how, even coming off the sweep, that would give a lot of motivation to Brooklyn. I like how the Celtics match up with the Nets. I think they would probably do well in a series. They're really difficult to handicap in my mind because we just don't know what they're going to be at that point. But if they are playing the way that they're playing now and can keep it together, they're going to be really dangerous, and they have a chance to win the East. And I think, obviously, according to the odds boards, the team that wins the East is going to have a good chance to win the finals and be favored. If you want to look at any of those East versus West winner, I think laying a little juice on the East makes some sense because you get Celtics, Nets, and Bucks, and that team, it's going to be one of those teams, and they're going to be favored in the finals.
No, I agree. And we talked last week. We'll be talking all throughout 2023. When is it time, if you didn't get in August and September, on the Clipper number? Is that still a sit and wait, or?
Yeah, just like I told you, I think the last time we talked about it. So the Nets are the same answer as the Clippers, is what you just helped me realize. You bet them at the start of the playoffs if you like them. I don't think the number is going to change that much. I don't think the Nets are going to be like the 1 or 2 seed. I think they'd be in that 3-4 range. Clippers aren't going to win a million regular season games. Kawhi gets sick last night, doesn't play. They lose at home to the Heat. Stuff like that's going to happen. And then if they are healthy going in, that is when you decide, okay, I think they have it in them, or they don't. And that's when you can bet them. I wouldn't bet either of those teams until we get to the start of the postseason.
Scroll has been going the whole time. Julian Edlow, at Julian Edlow, at DraftKings, at DK Sports, at DK Live, at Unreasonable Odd Podcasts. Julian, we can't thank you enough, obviously. Next week when we get back on it, we'll be talking some NFL. We'll be talking the winner of the NCAA championship. God bless you on your Georgia money line. Hopefully it's sweat free. Hopefully you get a middle there. I'm rooting for you. So best of luck this week, and we'll catch up to you on next Tuesday.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Looking forward to it.
Take care. The one and only Julian Edlow, at Julian Edlow, at DraftKings, at DraftKings Sportsbooks. All my Massachusetts followers. January 31st, Encore. Cutting the ribbon. We'll be taking their first bets. I don't know what other brick and mortars there will be. If you have a fantasy account on DraftKings, you can look at the top and it says Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app as we progress here every Tuesday with Julian. We're hoping to do some more stuff with him as we progress here. We're going to now look into DraftKings Sportsbook odds. What do they have for props? Maybe we can get some ECSI promos going and some of that other good stuff. So later on today, 3:30, Ron, we're going to go to LA with Ron, welcome him into the new year, and we're going to talk some, I don't know how much NFL we will talk about. We'll obviously talk about some college. And then at 4:30, 4:45, I'm going to run back a closing bell with Riley. And as we get everyone ready for tonight's action, again, thoughts and prayers to DeMar Hamlin. God bless you, kid. Stay strong. We're rooting for you. We're pulling for you. And from ECSI, the family, the team, the staff, nothing but positivity. Go onto my timeline. His toy drive is there. If you can spare a few bucks, ship it out to him. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Julian Edlow, at Julian Edlow, at DraftKings. We wish everyone a blessed morning, and we'll be back later this afternoon.